Out of the game.
3 in the goal square, just Corns in the middle of their forward line.
Hawthorn won the toss, they kicked to the left. Crowd probably around about 35,000. Wren gets the first tap. Port quickly on to Chick and a ball up.
Shane Crawford starts outside the centre square for the bounce, starting on a half-forward flank, moves to the stoppage contest now. Carr goes straight over to him, so that matchup will be together all night.
It looks like Thompson pushing up into the ruck with Sean Wren. He's moved from the forward line right into the middle of the ground as we see him go up now.
So that was Woods and Carr together. Stevens belts forward to Carr, couldn't hold it. Chick, still Chick, Burgoyne, pushed forward by Carr and held up there Graham at centre-half back.
Rawlings has started forward like he did last week in the second half. He's been picked up by Brett Montgomery, who has the ability to play a little bit taller than his height would dictate.
Darren Goals begin to talk to Josh Carr to just settle him. Carr letting him know. So Port at centre-half forward, Primus and Wren in a bit of a wrestle. Nick Stevens read it well. The handball to Corns was okay. The smother from Graham. Schofield, McKay picked him up. Corns gives Graham a hip and shoulder. Woods running towards the ball. Corns looks fired up here. He had a disappointing first final last week. The first final series, Cockatoo Collins. Good umpiring. Terrific umpiring. And a ball up at half forward right now. A free kick to Port. After the Darren Goldspeaker decided to ball it up, he was dumped cocky and he gets a free kick. Cockatoo Collins short to French and a free kick surely to the Hawks down back. It's not, and Schofield kicks a goal. Unbelievable decision. If that wasn't a mark or a scrag, I'll go he. And Schofield has pounced on him in goal. So Port get a free kick after it was decided to be bounced, and then no free kick here. You're kidding.
Well, that is a horrible decision, and it appeared as if the umpires were reacting to media pressure regarding the scragging in the press in Melbourne. I know Mike Sheehan highlighted again today. It did appear to be paid more often this afternoon, Bruce. Can't believe that one wasn't picked up early.
A great start for Schofield, though. Schofield and those type of players, important for Port early.
Well, he doesn't miss many, Schofield. He's a terrific goal kicker, particularly on the run. He kicked 5 in his very first game with Port Adelaide at the SCG a couple of years ago. And he's been on fire over the last couple of weeks. Hawthorn go forward, hurried kick. Port Adelaide mark, though, getting under at Montgomery. Now they're running along centre wing. Stuart Dew with the non-preferred right foot. Treadray's the target. Couldn't mark this time. Good defensive work from Hay. Falls for Graham to Joel Smith. Another All-Australian. There's a few out there tonight. The kick to centre wing. He wants Barlow. With him is Josh Carr. Barlow does well to regain the footy. The umpire can't split them. And he says, I'll come in and pull it up. And this has started at quite a pace. Port Adelaide getting the advantage early of, well, it wasn't really a bad decision. It was a non-decision, wasn't it? At half forward, allowed Schofield to come through and kick the first goal of the game. So Wren and Primus. A deadlock there. Crawford came over the top. Carr in there. Primus now. And he finds the boundary line. And we'll have a throw in.
Chick's currently on the half-forward line. He's been picked up by Adam Kingsley, who's also had a magnificent year. So there's some great matchups.
Port Adelaide bench, Lyle, who came into the side. Bishop, James. As Primus comes over the top, the other is Brent Guerra.
A couple of the other matchups too. Stuart Dew is being picked up on a wing by Angelo Lekas. Richie Vandenberg, as we talked about before the game, running with Nick Stevens.
Holland, Loney, Green, Cox. So they're two kids, the two teenagers, Loney and Green, who kicked 4 goals between them last week in their first finals, start on the interchange. Primus did well against Wren. That's a big victory to Burgoyne. Burgoyne to full forward. Just too far for French.
Yeah.
Going to ground though at the back there was Rawlings, and now Smith runs it to the line.
I've never seen a player improve his speed in 12 months more than Joel Smith.
Bowden Babicek has worked really hard with him, as he has with a number of other Hawthorn players, but Smith's been one of his real prize pupils. French probably just won the tap, half it over around at McCabe. Schofield, and again a ball up about 30 metres from Port Adelaide's goal. Just the start here, I reckon, is so important for Hawthorn. They can't allow Port to do what Sydney did last week. Port won't come back to them.
Well, the home crowd advantage is significant. There's no question about that. So a good start by Port Adelaide will be important.
Josh Carr's just peeled off the back of this, and he's dragged Crawford away from the contest.
French and Wren probably just in the front spot to win it. Tallis belted off it. Schofield, good tackle by Harford. And again a ball up. So Port still about 35 metres from goal, left forward pocket.
Tony Woods picks up Josh Franco as well. So both coaches have done plenty of homework before the game. A lot of matchups, a lot of tagging in the midfield areas.
They've started with a fair bit of energy though, Port Adelaide, Bruce.
Deep in Port Adelaide's attacking zone. Clearing fist away from the Hawks. Due to run onto it, went to ground and unable to keep the ball in play.
Just another interesting move early in the game. We see Matthew Primus pushing forward, heading towards the goal scorer, inside 50 for Port Adelaide. Last week he played in the back play a lot. Doesn't really suit his game. He's better off pushing forward, being an attacking player.
So Wren makes front position. Primus hooks it towards the back. Burgoyne shows some dash as he always does. Well caught though by Vandenberg, who streams away. Now Hawthorn go forward for the first time inside their 50, and coming out is Barker. Barker has a player running down the flank. He goes that way now to the outer side, and it's Barlow. Barlow, the first shot at goal for Hawthorn. Across the face of goal, though. Wakelin will concede. No, he doesn't. Finds Wanganeen. Wanganeen's got plenty of time, can steady. Just touches on the ground as well, and just jogs away. As casual as you like. And look at the kick as well.
He's been here a number of times before.
Gee, Carr's getting a bit of a...
Go on, Dipper.
Yeah, Carr is just manhandling Crawford, and Barker's just all over him at the moment. Keep an eye on that one, boys.
Dipper down on the boundary with the press tonight. Port Adelaide come to the grandstand side. Wakelin ran up from defence. Handball over the top to Bassett, who came back into the side last week with a final against Brisbane. Corns at half forward, goes to ground. Graham wraps him up in the tackle. Will need to get rid of it. And the umpire says held to him.
It's only very early in the game, but last week Port Adelaide flooded back very hard, pushing the half-forward line back into the Brisbane area. Mark Williams has gone with a lot more structured forward line tonight. I like that, playing the three tools up forward with the crumbing flankers.
Emergency umpire just talking to John Barker. Thompson, such a key Thompson. Crawford to Woods. Woods hooks it back. Barker versus Mead. Barker just a bit quick for Mead at the moment. He's left him standing twice now. He's at centre wing. Kick to half forward. Well weighted. Gee, a real miss there by Crode. Chance to Bassett, who's an impressive player. First time he's played at Footy Park since round 4 this year. His last 2 games have been against Brisbane at the Gabba for Port Adelaide.
Trent Crode is just working so hard, but he is down on form. He's down on confidence. We saw him there just completely misjudge it, but he's a player that if he can, just like Shane Crawford last week, if he can just continue to work hard, it may just turn for him. If it does, it's a big key.
High possession game, they play the Hawks. Graham got it from Woods. Kicks to 50 metres. Crowd there with Bassett. Bassett again beating him. Burgoyne to Wakelin, to Nick Stevens. Back to Wakelin. Wakelin's at half back, unloads. Not a great kick, but he was desperate for the line and he hits it, but out of bounds on the fall. And Woods takes the kick at centre wing.
Been a Hawk since 95, Woods. To Barlow. The lead on from Dixon. Wanganeen gives away a fair bit of height. It comes over the back for Barker. Left foot shot at goal. Across the face allows Chick to run at the footy. With him is Kingsley. Grabs him. Did he have the footy? The umpire says it was fair enough, and they will throw it in again in the right forward pocket this time for Hawthorn.
Jared, just the use of Daniel Chick on a half-forward flank, taking one of your best on-ballers out of the play. An interesting move.
The ball comes over the back, and a free kick was paid, and the umpire has paid the advantage. They'll have to bring it back. So it's going to Primus from the ruck contest, from the throw-in.
I just suspect he may be changing with Crawford. They haven't got the same amount of players that they can rotate. They've got to conserve a little bit.
So the All-Australian ruckman goes to Stevens, who runs into a spot of bother, but again he's got Wakelin, who's come up from defence. And a bit of interference from Sean Wren, and Wakelin will take the free kick. Last year's State of Origin fullback for South Australia. Joined the power this year from the Saints. Goes short to Bassett.
Interesting one there that Trent Crode, who should have been man on man against this player, was talking to the runner.
Francis provides the run on the opposite halfback flank. Now Kingsley runs into the space at centre wing. He's had another very good season. Caught on the left foot. Looks for Josh Carr, just can't reach it with the fingertips, and again the ball out of play.
Crawford lets him know about it. They'll be at each other for as long as this game goes on, you reckon? As long as there's some heat in the match.
Thompson's pushed up with Sean Wren just lurking around centre half forward.
Primus clever to Franco. Couldn't break the tackle. Handball okay. Carr had some momentum. Crawford worrying him to the boundary line. And again, a boundary throw in.
Guys, I think Ruckman, Matthew Primus might have an advantage over Sean Wren, in particular the way the umpire's umpiring. They're letting it getting a bit more physical, and I think he's got a bit more strength than Sean.
Tried to take it out of the air there, Bruce. Harford's kick away. Wanganeen trapped it cleverly, and then on the burst goes to centre half forward. High kick, not great for Treadray. Where are the Crummers? Not there at the moment. Handball by Barlow, under pressure. Tallis can't get through. Schofield's handball didn't find a target. Gee, it did look a throw coming back from the Hawks. They get away with it. Crawford's away. The throw coming from Leckis. Now Dixon twists and turns and then loads it up a bit and then sits it up to Chick versus Kingsley. Kingsley does well. Down in the front spot, Stevens. Chick to put the pressure on. Almost robs him. And then Port come in with numbers. He's a hard man to beat, Chick.
Well,
and they hold it up.
He beat three there. It was one-on-one initially, then it came to ground. There's a couple of extra Port Adelaide players who pushed into defence, but he was good enough to hold it up.
Gee, did he what? Wasn't that brilliant from Daniel Chick? Desperation needed in a final. Mead gets up high, belts it a good 30 metres toward the boundary line. It's 2-on-1, allows Wanganeen to come through. The Shepherd came from Kingsley. Wanganeen will have to kick now. Chick comes in and gets rid of him. The umpire says it was late. Looked at me just as he was kicking it. May have been a little crude. Port Adelaide can take a kick up the ground and it'll be Chad Corns.
Ben Dixon's just got to be a little bit careful when the ball is coming into the forward line, that on the rebound Wanganeen doesn't become the outplayer.
Treadray pushes Hay under the footy, but it doesn't pay off as Tallis comes through to Woods now on the bounce. Woods doesn't really know which way to go. In the end, goes back to Crawford. It was the right option. Graham now is loose, almost at half forward. Centres it to centre half forward. The big leap was on from Crode. Off hands, Leckis can have a shot at goal. This looks pretty good. It'll get the distance, but it drifts offline. And Hawthorn's first score, it's taken 12 minutes into this first term. One behind they are, Port Adelaide, the one straight goal.
Tony, I think the key issue now for Hawthorn is that they've got to find Ben Dixon on the lead, because Gavin Wanganeen is taking a lot of licence. He's dropping off him. He's becoming a player that's running the ball out. And once again there, Leckis went for the long bomb. He could have passed it on to Dixon to try and make Wanganeen more accountable.
Yeah, Jerry, and Wanganeen's game won't change either unless Dixon actually starts getting the ball. So certainly Hawthorn have to look for Dixon when he's free, use him every time.
Francis forced to go long here. Hasn't been able to spot a target. Oh, big fly, almost. Down to Franco. Franco to centre wing. Hawks with the numbers. Wren did well. It was Montgomery, admittedly, but Wren took the mark.
One Hawthorn player still down with a hole in his shoulder. I can't see who it is from here.
It's Barker, I think, Tipper. So Woods to Dixon. Dixon goes to centre half forward. Good kick to Thompson. Dropped it. Should have taken it. Schofield. Good tackle by Tallis. Schofield should have done more. Harford. Chick. Goal. Hawks in front.
Chick has laid some good tackles already for Hawthorn to win the footy back, and that time just drifted down for the goal.
One thing with Hawthorn, they're not afraid to back themselves in and sit forward of the play and wait for the loose ball to come out. That's how Chick got that goal. It's happened several times early in this game so far.
Green's come on for the Hawks.
So Wren gets the chance to come over the top of Primus. This time Woods read it beautifully. Long kick into the forward line, pretty directed. Dixon almost a one-hander. Wanganeen went to ground. Kingsley's there to help out. Coming through now for Port Adelaide. Across half-back, it's Wanganeen again. He started magnificently. Running off half-back is Kingsley. The kick forward, though, poorly directed. Graham showed a bit of courage, ran into the space, gets it to Green, fresh onto the ground. Awkward-looking kick to the middle now. Crawford will have to work hard. Bassett's in hot pursuit. Crawford got rid of it just at the right time. The handball through to Harford was spot on. Back to Green now. Wren's loose at half forward. The ruckman couldn't bend down. It looked awkward. Primus now picks it up. Umpire says to play it on. Primus wanted the free kick. The crowd don't like it, and that's understandable. We're in Adelaide. Francis now at half-back. It's a little untidy at the moment. This kick looks better, and now they're running. Schofield will take off.
Has French on the burst. Can he half volley it? Rawlings with him. They're still at centre half forward. James down on the ground. Smith. And a ball up.
Tony Woods has had a brilliant start to this match, And he's had Josh Franco benched already. How was this one for a handball? Looked pretty good to me.
Crow coming off, boys. Nick Holland's coming on now to replace Crody.
So it's about when they brought him on last week, Tip. I think it was 18 minutes in. It's almost 16 tonight.
And Franco's off as well for Port.
Hawthorn doing well here. Vandenberg to McCabe. They've got Port chasing jumpers just for the moment. McCabe to half forward. Barker and Mead. Back to McCabe. Back to Barlow. Well played, Stevens. The idea wasn't great by Barlow. Stevens knew it was coming and a ball up.
That's great play by Nick Stevens. There were 3 Hawthorn players around that contest, effectively a 3-on-1. Could have pushed them forward. Stevens forcing the turnover. Excellent play.
Tony Wood, 7 possessions already, and a lot of them forward of the centre. And he's kept Franco to just 1 kick, 1 handball. It's a great performance by bloke in potentially his last year.
Franco actually off the ground now, Jared, as well.
And Jared, I think that Mark Williams might be a little concerned of their half-forward line. It's just not functioning at the moment.
Your Corns, Treadray and French are all finding it hard here to break free, aren't they?
Without doubt.
Hasn't been a lot of supply coming in. That hasn't come in as effectively as up in the other end. A lot of pressure through the midfield. The tackling's been ferocious from both sides. And
Primus tries to hack it in the end. Handball good, Barlow. Woods again, make it 8, Jared, as he gets to half forward. Bassett doing really well, outmarking Holland there and takes the mark at half back. Uses a run of Stevens. He's their link player. Neat kick into the centre. Port with a chance here. Montgomery through the centre. Corns goes early. Now French the target. Where's Treadray? He's the best target. Was smothered by Graham. Ball still to be one in dispute. Green gets rid of it. Not effectively. James got it from Montgomery to Jew. Can kick a goal. And does. Well, we saw Schofield earlier cough it up. Stephen Green then unable to hold it in under pressure, and Port pounced.
That piece of play set up by an excellent running performance from Brent Montgomery on a half-back flank. He and Adam Kingsley are significant players for Port Adelaide. They provide a lot of drive, they get a lot of touches and set themselves up for running movements. He was involved in that movement. Dew, sitting off the contest, will always find space and kick a goal.
And Tallis back on for Woods, guys.
He's the crowd favourite here at Football Park. 43 goals now for Stuart Dew. He burst onto the scene at the start of this year. Opposition clubs woke up to his effectiveness. He had a quiet period, but in the last couple of weeks has come good again as Harford reads it off the ruck contest, kicks it forward to half forward. Barlow, little tap on was good. Allows Holland to come through. He's well wrapped up in the tackle. And a ball up between centre wing and half forward for Hawthorn. Darren Mead has lifted in the last minute or two on Barker. And Tony Woods has come off for a rest as far as Hawthorn's concerned, and quite rightly so. Started magnificently on Josh Franco. Tallis was the player to come back on. So a lot of players around the ball. And they've done a bit of talking to the players as well about the ball ups. And eventually umpire Darren Goldsmith gets it underway. Wakeland came over the top, came to Francis. Treadray leads in the race for the footy. 2 All-Australians go at it. He wins it this time in front of Hay. To Schofield. Left foot centering kick. Corns has to beat 2. Great grab. Well juggled and showed some strength as well. And that'll help him, Jared, because he was a little bit down last week.
he was tough for a forward last week, a tall forward. The ball didn't come in all that well, and when it did, it was pretty greasy and slippery, and he didn't have a big day, Chad Corns, but this is a good start. He put the glove up, and it was a good kick in coming from Schofield. Just have a look at this. Keeps Graham away with one arm. The glove went up, and he controlled it beautifully.
Now his kicking's improved, out of sight. How does he go with this one? The crowd like it, and Port have their third.
And that's the difference, I think, at the moment, that you just think that Port Adelaide can score multiple goals in a hurry. The Hawks have probably controlled the game, if minutes was the measurement, for a far greater period of time. But Port Adelaide have gone bang bang, and they've got themselves an 11-point lead.
Got a couple of minutes, haven't they? Very important. So 3 goals to 1-1. Corns, terrific mark and goal there. Primus on top on the ruck. Wins the tap. Burgoyne tried to boot forward. Tallis Strong tackle by Dew. Leckers pulled off it. In there, Wren just whipped off it by Primus. That's significant early and symbolic. Corns and Graham. Graham's had a bit of it, but Corns working nicely to Burgoyne. Gets away. Archie's back. Kick, has it got enough on it? No. And the mark taken by McCabe to Smith. Smith with run. Neat kick finds Barlow. Back of the centre square. Quick handball to Green. Had to search for Green. He's had a nervous start here, Green, after a terrific match last week. Handball by Francis. Treadray. Port dangerous here, really dangerous. If they could get a couple more, it's going to make it hard for Hawthorn. The kick wide, Cockatoo Collins. Out the back was Hay. Burgoyne, who had a wonderful first half last week. Corns hooks it back. Bounce of the ball's important here. Just away, it wasn't far off.
Noticed a significant change in Treadray and Corns' game, particularly Treadray tonight. They've used him on the full forward line a lot more often. And Mark Williams has given him a licence tonight, and he's pushing up the ground. Gets him a lot more involved in the play, particularly important after having had a disappointing game last week.
Nervous times in the forward line, or the defensive area there. There's a couple of knee tremblers for the Hawks defenders.
Well, they're chipping it around. And it's with Leckers in the back pocket. And as he looks up, he sees that it's very crowded in this defensive 50. And so he goes back towards the goal square again. So where it started with Rawlings. Short passes on again to Joel Smith. Another one now to Graham. To Hay. So a little indecisive now, the Hawks. Eventually they get it to the half-back line. And they should get out of strife now. Again, though, it's a short pass, relatively to centre wing. Leckers, who had it a moment ago in the back pocket. Now it's more direct to Barker, who's been good early. Mead starting to come into it as well. They're having a good battle. It's at half for Dixon. That's magnificent. Show of strength to Green. Green, the new player on the ground, goes goalward. Getting back is Guerra. With him is Thompson. Overruns it, allows Guerra to win the footy. Doesn't know where to go. Now over the top to Roger James, and one of the real consistent players for Port Adelaide this year. Kicks to half-back and finds Fabian Francis.
Ran off and crowed on.
They've got the answers at the moment, Port Adelaide, but it's early days in this final. Sliding mark taken by Cockatoo Collins at centre wing.
Quickly plays on. Schofield, Francis. Getting a bit of it. Harford puts the pressure on. Francis forced to kick almost defensively. McCabe and Treadray, it's on the ground. Francis comes in. Treadray held off very well. Francis handball back. Schofield busy. Loads it up with a high one to centre half forward. Dew and Hay. Dew did really well. Just shoved Hay out of the road. Could almost go all the way here. Decides to go to centre half forward to French. Hasn't been able to take a mark on the lead. Belted away. Terrific stuff by Primus. Wonderful footy. Thompson goes back to Holland. The umpire just stopped and propped them a bit. And then Rawlings to centre wing. Bassett round arm free kick surely to Crode. The play on, they're on here, the Hawks, to Vandenberg. Vandenberg goes wide, not bad. Barker's in the box seat, got it, no. Median late, Crawford crumbing, can't quite get clear. Stevens over the top with Bassett and then check, ball up.
Harford coming from the ground, maybe just a rotation. Don't think he is.
Yeah, Loney. No, he's okay. Jared Loney's replaced him as well, and also Cox is on the ground as well.
Got to use the ball smarter going into their forward line at the moment. I think you'd be frustrated if you were Dixon. Crawford was set there, and Braden Tallis elected to take the extra couple of seconds to make up his mind. Belted it high and long, wasn't accurate enough.
Guys down here.
Vandenberg, in fact.
It just feels like it's gone up a notch as well.
Well, Port Adelaide have gone up. It's now really up to the Hawks to match them.
So Woods comes back on for Tallis. We mentioned earlier the great start by Woods in the middle was on Franco. And it was 7 touches to 1 early in this first quarter.
Yeah, Tame McGuinness, you see Treadray now right on the wing on the other side. You're right there. He's moving away from the forward line and getting plenty of run.
So the ball up now. Crode went at it with Primus. Waiting off was Crawford. Went without it. Stevens came through. Just bustled it forward to the man in question, Treadray. We heard the press say he was at centre wing. He was almost at half back then when he got the kick. Now he kicks it to centre wing and Port Adelaide gained a little bit of an advantage.
One significant difference tonight from last week's game against Brisbane for Port is Francis and Schofield, 2 of their second-tier midfielders. Both have had 7 possessions each, have had good starts to the game.
Well, Schofield's second half to this year has been exceptional. Spent a lot of time on the bench in the first half of the season, and he's worked his way into the starting 18 as a regular, as Stevens clears again, is having a good quarter. Treadray and Hay both go to ground. Hay recovers first, then
Jesus,
pulls it back
here.
in, and the umpire says he'll ball it up. Well, maybe they change it for finals. He's been aggressive, Primus. Passage of play 5 minutes or so ago. He laid 3 tackles in a row coming out of the middle. And perhaps that's why he's the All-Australian ruckman. Not just good with the tap work, but his follow-up work is brilliant, as James now sits on top of it and will have another ball up.
I thought the Pres made a pretty fair comment earlier where the umpires appear to be umpiring, ignoring a lot of the physical grappling, which has suited Primus right from the word go.
Tony Woods there. He's had a wretched run with hamstrings this year. Port lead by a couple here. Corns has now gone to the goal square and French up the ground a bit, so a subtle change there in the way they've lined up. James hugged the boundary line. It was a clever kick, actually. He had nowhere to go, and he found about 35 metres along the line and kept it from bouncing out on the full. So it's a throw in and about 25 to 30 metres around from the left-hand goal post. So Primus, so important here. Thompson, who has changed games himself this season for the Hawks. Green doing well now, settling. Gets it to McCabe. McCabe at half-back. He wants the boundary line. He can't find it. Wakeland. Kicking board was confident to James. Some good signs for Port here. James attacks. Corns the target. Got a shove. Good mark by Graham. Got rid of Corns and then took the mark. Uses a run. McCabe at half-back. Cox has come on. Had a fantastic game against Richmond when he made his debut for this season this year. He's a running defender who can hurt, but that's a terrible kick to Bassett. It was always heavy traffic in there, and Bassett's got it. So Port searching for a late one to Dew. Dew, not good, terrible actually. That's when you've got a weapon like he's got, that left foot that can cover so much ground. Vandenberg out wide, and Holland takes a mark right on the siren. So Port lead by 12 points, 3-1 to 1-1. They got 2 of those goals in about 2 minutes when Dew and Corns were able to get their second and thirds.
It's been pretty even right across the board. I think Hawthorn would be disappointed that they didn't get more goals early in the piece when they ran the ball and dominated play through the middle of the ground. But going into the forward line, they struggled a bit. Wanganeen brilliant early, and then they scored consecutive goals to give themselves a lead, as you said, Bruce.
So on this perfect night, Port lead Hawthorn by 12 points at quarter time. It's 3-1 to 1-1. And again, Josh Carr with Darren Goldspink.
Still looking for his first possession, I think, Josh Carr. Where is he? He hasn't touched it, but Crawford's been restricted to just 4 kicks.
Daniel Chick for Hawthorn, only the 1 possession for the first quarter.
And Ryan Loney coming on in the start of this second quarter, got a beautiful kick on him, as we saw him last week against the Swans, kicking about 2 beautiful goals outside 50. He might be the Stewie Dew.
Thanks, Dipper. Certainly can unload. 3-1 to 1-1. Hawthorn just needing to stay in touch here. James, Harford, good smother. Crow trying to burst through. Bassett puts him on the ground, ball up.
I think now that Chick hasn't gone into the midfield, there is, I guess, an issue with why Daniel Chick is staying outside of the centre of the ground where he dominated. Maybe it's going to save him for the legs in the second half, but he may have also brought a problem into the match.
So Primus couldn't really get a crack at it there. Burgoyne and Harford, Franco, well done. He squeezed it through in the end. Treadray's handling of the ball's outstanding to Guerra. Guerra, long, just missing. Boy, it had something on it.
Did he give that a ride?
Gee, Treadray's good. What I was trying to say in a hurry was that he's a one-grab footballer, Treadray. He really rarely fumbles.
Shouldn't have been able to break the tackle, but he is a big man coming through. But that kick, he exploded that kick.
Remember, he's been a defender all year, and he came on in that game and kicked 4 against Essendon late in the season. Brent Guerra. So Hawthorn with Graham, still deep in defence, and picks out Hay at half-back. Treadray's direct opponent.
Doing pretty well here, Port Adelaide. They're restricting Hawthorn. They're not allowing them to get the ball into their forward line in a hurry.
Well, they take it back across goal to Rawlings now.
It's a good break for the Hawks.
Sees McCabe, the South Australian loose at half-back. Now they're running Hawthorn through the middle. The kick misses the target. Wanted Vandenberg. Schofield fumbles but regains it. To the middle now, Guerra. Left foot kick is good and finds Francis. But there's no one inside 50. Well, there's one player for Port Adelaide. Now they come streaming down. Stevens is on a lead. Can't take the mark. Hassling him all the way is Hay, and it's good defensive work.
Just, Chris, you made the comment then that there was no one to kick to for Port Adelaide. That's because Treadray and that Hawthorn forward movement had moved into the back half of the ground. They're going to flood back hard this quarter, I'd suggest.
So Primus from behind probably just got the better of it. Burgoyne, the speedster, loses it. Great tackle applied by Loney. Another speedster went with him, threaded through by Stevens. Francis pulled off it. Jared Healy says too high, and the kick comes from Burgoyne, and it's just offline.
So does Fabian Francis. He looked like he'd been slammed by the classic coat hanger. Have a look at this.
Yeah.
Sure,
the half Nelson sleeper hold, everything all in one. 3-3 Port Adelaide, Hawthorn 1-1.
Daniel Harford to be resting a little bit easier after that hasn't gone through for a goal. His kick through the middle was perhaps his worst for the year.
6 scoring shots to 2 here. Port lead by 14 points. So Hay, long way away from Treadray at the moment. Treadray, just really interesting the way Mark Williams has set him up.
Dipper, do you know anything about the move of Chick into the forward line?
No, not at all, Jared.
Crowed the fly, but Corns has taken a beauty in the front. He's got great hands, Corns. So he's between centre wing and half forward, just told to straighten up on the mark. Port just on top here. Short to Burgoyne. Burgoyne short. Schofield so often the link. Takes on Chick. Teases him a bit now. And then pushes, not a good kick. This is dangerous for Port. They've gone wide and they've got no length on it. And Carr knows there's a problem here. Loney comes in with a tackle. Woods puts a tackle on. Harford. Schofield close to the boundary line. Schofield did well. Back to James. Good handball to Franco. Those dancing feet, poor handball to Loney. Loney can't get a handle on it. Pushes towards the line. There's a bit of fumbling here. Carr still without a kick in the game. Tagging hard as always. Chick pushes forward cleverly. Free kick Crowd in the back. Well, both teams actually made a real mess of all that as Hawthorn able to go forward. Crawford, Dixon gets rid of Wanganeen and gives away a free kick, and the advantage is given. And in fact, Montgomery didn't know, so back to Wanganeen. Wanganeen having a fabulous season and a terrific opening to this game.
Across to Bassett. He started pretty well also for Port Adelaide. Came in last week against Brisbane and was exceptional in the first half. Plays it on to Wanganeen now, who touches the ground and comes back to where he started moments ago to Montgomery. And he can take plenty of time. He looks up. There's really nothing on offer now. Burgoyne goes hard towards centre wing. On a lead is Treadray. Burgoyne will sit under him and does. Likewise Loney though. And in the end, Hay does magnificently well. Fantastic play from the All-Australian fullback to Cox. Cox now goes short. Crowd, now they're building Hawthorn towards the forward pocket. Barlow can play on straight away. Surely a goal coming up. Crawford will finish it off and Hawthorn come back.
What a turnaround. And Jonathan Hay, he's almost got Silvani-like qualities. He's just getting away without giving away penalties with the scrag. It was a magnificent turnover, and his agility when he hit the ground, it was just first class. Smart work by Crowd as well, everybody involved in that one. And, well, the Hawks, if they can just stay with them at half-time, the height is going to be a concern late in the match.
So Crawford the captain and Chick the goal scorers for the Hawks. Hay outstanding, as Gerard said, on Treadray on that occasion at centre wing. Wren gets over the top. Crawford back to Woods, back to Cox, bursting away. Cox left foot, bit ugly off the boot. G. Thompson, big fly. Bassett tries to get rid of Chick. That's easier said than done. Guerra, terrific skills, just 19, had a great season. Lekas, Lekas's handball. Has to sit and wait Vandenberg and then get rid of Burgoyne, and then he misses a target. Back to Crawford, out wide, that's better. Lekas loads up, goes to half forward. Barker, Montgomery coming across Kingsley. Good hands to Montgomery, in trouble now. Wakeland spins and turns to Franco. It's good stuff, and then Montgomery wants the line and he finds it. But Hawthorn have moved up here, challenging Port Adelaide. They trail 13-21 on this perfect night for footy in Adelaide, second semi-final.
In that previous movement, Angelo Lakis went forward and he could have actually squared the ball back inside. There were 2 or 3 Hawthorn players loose at the top of the 50. Decided to go long to the goal square to a 2-on-1 Port Adelaide's way.
Wren continues to make front position. Chance for Hawthorn again across half forward. Franco eventually wins the footy and takes it straight back to the boundary line. Chick has been exceptional in the tackling department tonight.
Yeah, I've got this replay up because I think this may be the explanation of why he's playing in the forward line. He just holds the ball in. It's such a vital ingredient in winning any game.
So Primus wins the tap, but again it's Woods, who's working hard for Hawthorn, has started this game very well indeed. Wakeland, a ton of courage, got absolutely poleaxed in the middle of all of that, and it allows Wanganeen to win the footy. That's what finals footy's all about. It comes off hands to James now. Back to Francis, further back Franco now. They'll build from half-back. Port Adelaide on the burst, on the lead is Treadray at centre wing, and he's taken the mark. They were called at half-back then, Port Adelaide. Treadray now will kick to the middle. It'll have to be a Port Adelaide mark or they're in strife, and Carr's good enough. His first touch for the night, as Jared Healy has pointed out a couple of times, hasn't been winning the footy, but has been keeping Crawford as quiet as he possibly can. Although Crawford got the last goal. Hawthorn now through the middle. Smith has a bounce. He'll run further. Goes to 60 metres. They're loose everywhere. Hawthorn, magnificent kick.
Well, what about the work of Daniel Chick? He made Matthew Primus think about chasing Smith there. Well done. That's probably why Jerry's up the forward line. Maybe just to make sure he holds the ball in the second half, we might see him on the ball.
And that's where, if Hawthorn can get Port Adelaide on the rebound, Wanganeen is going to sit off Dixon all night and give him space. If they can get them on the hop, you'll find Dixon on his own. That's exactly what happened there.
Pretty smart play
Port Adelaide, they've made mistakes in the middle when they've chipped it sideways. When they were going direct early, they were on song. As Dixon now, usually a very good goal kicker, and this time he's offline. So a real let-off for Port Adelaide.
It's the first possession for the game for Dixon. Wanganeen's had 8 possessions. He's going to sit off and zone him all night and just go to where the ball is. So if Hawthorn can create the turnover and go long and direct to Dixon on his own, he could be dangerous inside 50.
It's a poor kick though by Dixon. He really should have goaled.
Had to, yeah.
Francis wide. Wanted Mead. Good spoil though. Coming from half it. Dixon. So he gets a second kick in a hurry. Goes to 4-4. Good kick, and Crode's got it. They're just on top here, the Hawks, for the moment, aren't they?
They are, and this is a damaging sign for Port Adelaide. I've seen Trent Crode's last couple of matches. He's run past footies, he's miskicked, he's dropped balls he should have marked. But you can look into his eyes and you know that he's just busting his guts and he's desperate to play well. And he timed that one perfectly. If he hits this one and he gets a goal, his confidence is going to soar.
He hasn't kicked a goal in his last 4 matches, but he's been a goal kicker this year, and he's got one tonight.
And good on him. He's worked his absolute butt off to maintain his spot, to maintain his status as a good young player coming up. He's had to deal with a lot of criticism. People are suggesting he can't play, he's not a footballer. In fact, he may have even suggested it himself, which probably wasn't a smart thing to do. But he is a terrific player. He's a match winner in his own right. And if he can build his confidence during this match, he can be a match winner.
So a point the difference in the second semi-final as Crode kicks truly for the Hawks. In the middle, it's Wren and Primus again. Wren does better this time. Burgoyne onto it. Couldn't get it to Stevens. Allows Vandenberg through. He does well. Gets around 2 Port Adelaide opponents. Threads it through. There are Hawks everywhere. One of them's Green. Green now handballs to half forward. Quick kick forward to no one in particular. The Hawks trap it through. Crode again to Cox now. Cox will have to hurry and does. Bangs it onto the boot forward. Getting under it was Chick. Couldn't take the mark. Green was there. Great handball through to Wren. Back to Chick. Chick, kick it, goal! And he's missed. Just offline. The Hawks are dangerous midway through this second term.
Yeah, just a bit of a blaze there from Daniel Chick, but why wouldn't it be? The pace is frenetic out there. Magnificent little handball there from Stephen Green to set it up.
Inside 50 entries, Port Adelaide 2, Hawthorn 7. They're just getting more numbers around the contest, using the handball extremely well with the play running forward of the play. Just too many loose players in general field play, Hawthorn, at the moment.
Scores level. Francis just uncertain whether to go short or bang long. He's decided to go long. His target, Wakeland, who's so often been a target for Port in kickouts this year. Franco running out of room, did very well to Stevens. That Port Adelaide engine room's going to have to lift here. Crawford takes a spectacular mark. He's done pretty well, Crawford. Squares it to Harford. He's got beautiful hands, Harford, normally a good kick. Finds his target in Leckers to Cox, providing run. Pops it up, Chick's the danger man. Montgomery, Barlow. Has he got it? He likes it. Hawthorn lead by a goal.
Chick did brilliantly. Chick did magnificently. It was a great kick from Cox to the top of the square. But just have a look at the form of the work of Chick. Harford, that's a better kick. He's lobbed that one right into the bread basket. Have a look at Chick's work here. Doesn't try and mark the foot, he just brings it to the ground and Barlow swings it around for a big goal. On top, Hawks, growing in confidence. They got some problems just at the moment, Port Adelaide.
That contest that Daniel Chick and Montgomery were involved in, Kingsley just had to come from behind the play and belt the ball hard.
Primus through the middle. Joel Smith gets it to Cox, who kicked the last one forward. This time towards half forward. Brilliant pickup. What a pickup from Warren Treadray, who was at half-back. Then he takes it back in the 1-2. Kicks long. Port Adelaide haven't been forward for a long, long time. It's Corns.
It's got to be a free kick.
Corns and Graham. And the free kick is paid to Chad Corns.
Well, Mark Graham just turned his back on the footy.
Is played on. They haven't paid the advantage. It'll come back to Corns.
The reason that Treadray was involved in that movement from the half-back line is because Mark Williams pushes Treadray into the back line when Port Adelaide are under the pump, and they were at that moment there. Hawthorn had all the momentum. At centre bounces, Treadray goes into the back line as a loose player and then tries to clog up the Hawthorn forward line. Good piece of play by Treadray.
And a double change, guys. French has come on for Francis and Tallis on for Woods.
So Treadray now just drifts into the goal square for this kick. Corns. It'll go across the face of goal. Wren coming in front of the pack. Couldn't take the mark and through for the minor score. So it's the Hawks by 5 points midway through this second term. And there's no doubt the second quarter has belonged to the Hawks, and I think courtesy of their on-ballers.
Port without a goal in this term. The Hawks have kicked 3. Smith patiently waiting. Both teams have had a battle to get it cleanly out. McCabe got it. They've worked well here to Harford. Terrible kick. French. He's just come off the interchange for Francis. Goes into Stevens. Stevens with a couple of options. Goes to James. James, little dummy on Vandenberg. French probably not the best person in this situation to go for the kick. Now finds Stevens. Stevens wide. Does he get Carr? That's a good mark. Under pressure. His last kick was dreadful. He knows that. He's about 65 metres out. Corns leads. Short to James. Francis off the ground, so one of their running goal kickers who can kick outside 50 is not there. Where's Stewart Dew? Because he's the other one. Unsighted in this quarter, Dew. James, Treadray, got him. Geez, a good forward, Treadray. Hay put enormous pressure on him.
He just leads in front all the time. Always got space in front of him. Is just a wonderful player, isn't he?
I think at the moment, Dipper, he is the ultimate challenge for a centre-half back or full-back in the comp.
It was well set up by Port Adelaide as well. They pushed players into the corridor on the far side of the ground, opening up the grandstand side. Roger James has sat and held a position, waited for something to open it up. Open up for Warren Treadray.
Harford coming off for Rawlings, Cockatoo Collins on. That's maybe forgetting Matthew Lloyd, but at centre-half forward, he's as good as they get. No wonder you picked him, Gerard. So, Treadray, this will test him. Port need it. They really do need it. 50 metres out, he struck it well, but he's missed it. Struck it well in terms of the distance, but never going to be accurate. Port have kicked 4 behinds in this quarter, and Hawthorn have kicked 3-2. And right now, with Philip Walsh on the right, Rob Snowden in the centre, and Mark Williams on the left, Port would be feeling a bit nervous. 23 plays 27.
So Wren has it at halfback, having an enormous battle with Primus. Short to Green. Running out of defence now. The Hawks through McCabe. Chick gets under it. Such an important player in this game so far. The smother from Kingsley. Crawford can keep it in. He'll keep it in all right. They could go all the way to the square, but the handball goes astray. It was on for Hawthorn then. Carr with courage. Quick handball. It ends up with Franco, who took it from James. Franco in trouble. To Bassett.
Pressure.
Quick hands. Look at the way Port Adelaide get out of this. But what about the pressure of Hawthorn? It is unbelievable. And Port Adelaide see it to the boundary line. Great footy, says Gerard Healy. It certainly is. It is pressure-packed finals footy.
Some cool heads there by Port Adelaide, guys.
It was good by both teams, and in the end, Port not confident to go short to Dew. They wanted the boundary line. Dew was clear. They decided not to. They're under a bit of siege here, Port. They've got to hang tough here for the next 10 minutes or so.
And I think you just mentioned a player then, Bruce, Stuart Dew, who can't quite get into the game, and Port Adelaide really need him.
Stephen Green's running with him and doing very well.
I think Dew's actually running with Green now, Bruce.
So
In reverse, he's taken the tagger's role.
Franco to James. Chick to put the pressure on. James's kick. Graham searches for it. Hay attacks it. And is that out on the full?
Looked it.
Not called. Hay versus Treadray's been a super duel, hasn't it?
Been a beauty.
Ring coming off. Holland back on.
No, maybe not. Thanks, Dipper. Might have just got over the line. James getting his hands on a lot. To Carr. Well, he was just wanting Treadray to work for him, Carr.
Well, he just had to put it on the boot straight away, Bruce, and push it long and forward. He's got dangerous tall players up forward. Kick it long to them.
He's had 3 kicks, Carr, and he's wasted 2 of them. Crawford to McCabe. Goes short to Graham. So Graham at centre-half back.
Kicks now to the lead of Chick. And a good strong mark. He's playing a super game. He really is. Through the middle now, Rawlings. A run up through Green this time. Green, the teenager, goes towards the pocket. Huge fly from the back. Hawthorn outnumbered now at half forward. And the umpire will ball it up. You see Nick Holland there working hard. Started on the bench tonight.
And as that stat shows, the game in this term has been played in Hawthorn's half of the ground.
We expect the Holland family to be here in force tonight. Split between the MCG and Footy Park. Of course, his brother playing for Richmond today.
And had a good start.
Coming through Vandenberg with strength. Kingsley has been okay for Port Adelaide. Schofield kicked the first goal of the match. Cox wearing him tightly. Schofield shows some toe. Will have to get rid of it now and does. It's pressure everywhere at the moment as Stuart Dew. Let's go with a long kick to half forward. Stevens, did he mark it? Umpire says no. The pressure was good from Leckers. Likewise Tallis. Hawthorn have got the numbers now and they're on the burst. Members grandstand side of Footy Park. They've got the numbers. Barlow's got it. Looks up now and goes very short with the pass. Vandenberg from centre wing. Let's go a high one towards half forward. Wakeland's got the sit. And Wakeland takes the safe mark for Port Adelaide. And they need to steady at the power because Hawthorn are definitely on top all over the ground.
Nick Holland just struggling at the moment to get into it. Franco got it short. He's had a good second term in terms of possessions, Franco. Wide to Cockatoo Collins. To Burgoyne. They're just trying to build, but they're doing it slowly and carefully. Franco ran hard, got it, wants to take Crode on, decides not to in the end. He was off the mark, wasn't he?
I reckon he played on twice.
Yeah, I agree.
No space for them at the moment.
Well, they're going sideways, Bruce. I mean, this is a bit like last week. They need to be going long and direct like they did in the first quarter.
French goes to ground. Barlow over the top. Tallis, Burgoyne, Tallis just dropped it out in the end. And it'll be a ball up. But Hawthorn won't mind that.
French has moved into the ruck. Primus has gone to the goal square for Port.
Lowell getting ready. He came in for Derek Murray tonight. I believe that Derek Murray was told at training yesterday that Lowell would come in.
I think he's coming on for Peter Burgoyne, guys.
Port needing something here. Leckers couldn't get a handle on it. Kingsley, James, Tallis cut it off. Comes out towards Cox from Thompson. Cox back to Crawford. Crawford building a pretty good stat portfolio before half-time. Montgomery over the line. So 27 plays 23.
Loney coming onto the ground and Barlow off. I think what Port Adelaide have done well, they've limited Smith's effectiveness. He's had just 5 kicks. I know Hawthorn would be desperate for him to get more around the centre. We've seen him get 1. He set up a goal.
Tap comes the way of Franco. Runs into trouble. Carr, likewise. Green was the tackler. Quick hands to Schofield. Hugging the boundary line, Roger James, and the tackle was good, forcing the ball over the boundary line.
Tony, Gavin Wanganeen has been a star for them. He's kept Dixon relatively quiet and he's built plenty from defence, but they may need, if Carr can't get his hands on the footy, to throw him into the middle at some stage.
So the handball comes from Thompson, direction of Tallis, quickly to Crawford now. Crawford loses it, didn't know where to go. Cockatoo Collins came through and stole it. Crawford redeems himself with a huge tackle though and keeps the ball in the area as Port Adelaide threatened to go forward. So Crawford a mistake, and then the redemption was fantastic.
And that's the whole key to their game at the moment. They haven't got the absolutely beautifully skilled midfielders, but they've been playing in so many numbers and gang tackling and supporting each other that they've been able to make mistakes and still recover. Brilliant stuff there from the captain.
Well, I was unkind to Harford because he liked the tackle, so full marks to Daniel Harford as Mead threads one through to Montgomery. Port Adelaide just bustling it forward at the moment. Graham gets under it, and there is no system in that whatsoever. Across the ground now to Hay. There's a player leading loose at centre wing. It's Barker, a long way from the forward line for him. He's got plenty of time. Two players bearing it on him. One of them is Treadray, and it was good pressure from Treadray because it's forced a mistake, but only momentarily. Allows Cox to come through. Back to Barker now. Treadray, the tackler. Well played from the big centre half forward, but it comes to Crode now, and Hawthorn out of trouble to Holland now, who's still at centre wing.
Tallis running hard for him at half forward.
Just got the chip over the top.
To Vandenberg, who's short. Holland, not sure if he's actually seen him yet. Kingsley comes across and cuts it off. Back to Crode. We know he can burst. Half burst and then loads it up and bangs to Chick. Getting back, front spot. Port Adelaide, left foot by Crawford. It was Bassett that got back. Chick's in the pocket. Kept it in play brilliantly. Then crossed the face. Just had too much on it. Dixon versus Wanganeen. Boundary throw in.
Crawford's had 17 touches now. Josh Carr's had 6. You just wonder whether Crawford's going to have a night out. So you may as well match him up with a more dangerous opponent. Jared talked about Wanganeen going in the midfield. Mark Williams has done that several times during the year. It might be a good move at the moment.
So Nick Stevens matching up on Chick. Harford took it out of the air. Crode outnumbered. Bassett, Crode, still Crode. Bassett slings him to the ground. Gets a free kick. Didn't have the footy.
Just falling apart at the moment for Port Adelaide. They're lucky that Hawthorn haven't hurt them more on the scoreboard. We've seen Chick with a number of half opportunities. Nothing gone right for him in front of goal, but his work is almost like a small, tall forward, if you like. He's just getting up and bringing the ball to the ground.
You mentioned before the game that he's built like Lee Matthews, and I mean the player of the century, Lee Matthews, but he's playing a bit like Lee Matthews played, didn't he? As that robust forward who can take people out just with their body strength and kick goals. So Crode from the pocket. This to give Hawthorn a handy break in a low-scoring game. He's missed it.
Now, have I missed something here, Jared and Tony? From Port Adelaide's point of view, I thought Primus was on top early. He then went to the forward line, so he's presumably had a rest. Now he's off the ground.
Well, no, he just come off the ground for about 10 seconds. He was heading towards the bench, and now he's about to come back on.
You say he was on top. He was getting a hand on the footy at the taps, etc., but they weren't taking it away, and he's had just 2 handballs as his own possession.
Fair enough.
Hasn't really been contributing significantly there.
It's always a sign, isn't it, when the kick-outs aren't working, and Dew's kick went straight to Holland, to Tallis, squares it up. Cox loves to run and go bang with a long one. He has. It's a chance. Or is it a mark? It's forced through. She in the end, I reckon Crode probably thought twice about it, didn't he? It was going and going and going.
Well, between the 2 50-metre areas, Jared, Hawthorn are just absolutely dominating general field play.
Yep.
Making all the play. Hawthorn going forward, looking dangerous every time they head inside 50.
You're absolutely right, though, Bruce. The kick-ins for Port Adelaide just haven't been good. This time they go very short. They work it around the outer flank now. Bishop, a new man on the ground, a tall defender. As Barnaby French comes off for the power, Primus back on. And Bishop will kick it long and high towards centre wing. And, well, Corns was outnumbered. He did well in the end, although Graham has stolen it and takes off. They're running again. Hawthorn, Vandenberg to Thompson. The athletic big man goes to a vacant goal square, and he's offline.
Well, they could have put him away. Not without some chance, Port Adelaide, but they could have put 4 or 5 goals distance between themselves and the opposition. This is a bad sign. One of their big men is off. It looks simply a corky. But that's 2 opportunities in the last couple of minutes, and probably 4 or 5 that could have easily been threaded.
So it's Wanganeen this time, very short to the pocket. Lyle, the player that came in late. Kingsley will have to hurry. Chick, the pressure from him was good. Towards the middle of the ground, but again Hawthorn win it in the midfield. Woods has been so important. Went for Cox, missed him. Has got plenty helping out though. It'll come to Holland now. Holland back to Woods, getting plenty of the footy. On the lead, Dixon will come over the top. Couldn't take the mark. Off hands, it's Chick. Chick inboard to Barlow. Stevens went to ground, had to bounce back up. Now Port Adelaide can clear, but they are panic-stricken.
Wanganeen, back to Stevens, to Montgomery.
They're going to find it difficult to score because they've got so many players in defence.
To Lyle, did well there Lyle. To Montgomery, to Primus, got around. Cockatoo Collins on the burst out. Tread raised the kick, you'd reckon. Can he get to him? Cockney through the centre, runs a long way. The kick to Treadray versus Hay. Treadray, they go to ground. Mead. Hayes' tackle was terrific. Treadray might get a go. Did Mead give away a free kick? Hawthorn's numbers are impressive. The ball comes out. Cockatoo Collins, back turn, runs out of ideas nearly. It's about 20 metres from goal. Terrific tackle. Tallis on James. What football that was. Oh, it was last man standing in the end.
Well, the opportunity was Cockatoo Collins long to the goal square. Treadray was pushing back in the space. He was goal side, so he had Hay out of position. He just had to kick it long to the movement. He didn't go there.
It wasn't that one that Tony was talking about. It was the early one when Treadray had made good position. Port need a goal here. Hawthorn know it. They're hanging on. Mead tries to get out. Carr quite cut through the goal. Carr, Josh Carr kicks the goal. At half-time.
How important on the siren.
Josh Carr gets the goal right on the siren. It was like a last-gasp rugby try, wasn't it? I mean, that's what it felt like.
And I think there's a few appealing Hawks suggesting it was touch, but how important is that one going to be? What a swing of momentum. Just to gain some confidence, they've been battered and bruised the whole way through. It probably did get touched on the way through, but wasn't picked up by the goal umpire.
The bottom line is that Hawthorn still lead at half-time. They dominated the second term, but Port Adelaide without a goal until the last couple of seconds. Carr's had his colours lowered by Crawford, but that goal just means so much. Terrific half of footy. Boy, is it competitive. We'll be back in a moment. It's 29-30. What a quarter of footy we've got coming up here. A few questions will be answered in the next hour, and a solution perhaps will come in the next 30 minutes. Hawthorn made all the running in the second quarter, but they lead by just a point. Carr's goal right on the siren. Carr gets it, but the tackle on Kingsley was quick, and then the kick coming from Guerra didn't go anywhere. Franco probably got a high one with Crode. Ball up.
Just the first 5 minutes is so important for Hawthorn, just to re-establish their supremacy once again. Mark Williams obviously would have really had a few things to say. The season's on the line. He would have demanded heaps from their midfield in the intensity department, so they'll be red hot at it early.
Burgoyne and Franco go for the one ball, and then Lyle wrapped up. Loose ball. The Hawks have done well in this area tonight. Woods to Cox. As Dipper told us, he came off the interchange. He was going to start there at the start of the quarter. Holland out wide. Dutchy's slow kick, but it's going to get to Lekas at about 55-60. Hawthorn with some numbers here. Nobody on the mark. Lekas inside 50. Goes for goal. Chick Kingsley. Chick Dixon goal. A goal to the Hawks. Dixon. Wanganeen looks nonplussed, doesn't he? But they were just outbodied there, the two defenders.
That's exactly what they required. Dixon's the man. He's got the goal and put Gavin Wanganeen back on his haunches. But it just came in so easily. This is why their backline has done pretty well, because there's no pressure midfield. The Hawks are getting the ball forward to spare players. They're getting it in quickly, and they're getting, this time, a score on the board.
Seven points now, the Hawks. And they took it out of the middle once again so easily around that outer half-forward flank. They had the numbers. Port Adelaide just didn't run with them, and they threatened to do it again. Vandenberg onto it. Lyle's the tackler. Now Cox. High kick now to the forward pocket. Again, they look too tall, Hawthorn. Port Adelaide now through Montgomery. Franco And they've got a bit of time now to steady. Wakeland looks for Schofield, and he'll take the mark.
Expect Franco to get plenty of it now. Crawford's gone on to him. It looks like Carr may have switched over onto Harford.
And I think Lyle as well may have been trying to pick Crawford up, so they'll sort each other out in these first couple of minutes. And Lyle's got the footy right now. Late inclusion in this side for Derek Murray. Kick to half forward. And Graham, too strong this time, got rid of Corns.
Chris, I reckon they look better with French out there. It just gave them somebody in the square, somebody to straighten them up.
Well, it's keepies off at the moment. Hawthorn have got the answers everywhere. Wren now. They go to the big fella right in the middle. Getting under it, his opponent in Primus, who spilt that one, couldn't take the mark. Tallis forward, nice little tap on. Montgomery wins the footy though, had nowhere to go. Handballed it to himself in the end. Now he has to work overtime to try and regain it. It comes back towards Harford now. At half-back, it's Primus. Tries to fend off. Got it to Mead, who was in all sorts of trouble. Had nowhere to go. It comes to Woods now. Back to Crawford, who's had plenty of it. Took plenty of time, allowed Lyle to run at him, and then cleverly got around him. It's all Port Adelaide, though, at half-back. And a courageous mark taken by Bassett.
So Tony Woods is playing one hell of a game for the Hawks.
So Port Adelaide now through Kingsley to Schofield. They're still deep in defence. Now they kick it towards centre wing. Cockatoo Collins one-on-one with Smith. Over the back, Lyle will run onto it, but it'll beat them all over the boundary line. Hawthorn again, at the start of this third term, they look far better than Port Adelaide.
Kicked for the last 5 goals, the Hawks, in a low-scoring game. Francis, Bishop, French and James on the interchange for Port. Primus and Ren did well. Belted it away. Stevens attacks hard, keeps his head over it and then forces to the line. Tallis puts a tackle on Vandenberg in pursuit.
I know Port Adelaide like to keep Treadray deep inside 50 because that's where he does his most dangerous work. But if Port cannot get on top in the midfield, they're going to be forced to have to push Treadray down the ground so they've got a tool they can go to.
Brayton Lyles on Crawford now. Woods has gone on to Josh Franco. Sorry, Bruce.
No worries, Jared. Tallis' little kick. Chick, force it forward to Vandenberg. Kingsley, clever to Stevens. Look away to Franco. Franco at centre wing. The ball to half forward. Cockatoo Collins front spot. He's got good hands. Smith able to just force him under a bit. Crawford having a terrific match, but it ricochets away. Corns takes it from Cockatoo Collins. And then indiscriminately, well, he didn't mean it. He was belting for the ball and collected Graham in the right in the solar plexus. And Graham puts his hand up, says he's okay.
I reckon that is the old-fashioned kicking in danger. I think it is, what is it, indiscriminate kicking? Well, that is the classic interpretation of that.
And he's in trouble, Graham, here. Corns, his opponent, comes over the top, hooks back, bounce interesting here. Was okay in the end for the Hawks. McCabe was able to get it back. Oh, gee, danger kick, but they're playing with a bit of confidence. And Smith's on the burst. Harford can just go with him.
Go all the way.
Can be his companion here, Harford.
Kick a goal here.
Fourth bounce. Nobody's come to him. A fifth bounce. Treadray's coming from the side. Smith loads it up. Hooks wide for Dixon. He's gone very, very wide. Wanganeen comes in hard on Dixon. Dixon belts it back. Porter got to hold firm here. Wanganeen did well to Wakeland, to Montgomery. And Montgomery comes away. He's in trouble. The handball puts his teammate under the gun. Holland off the ground. Wakeland. Gee, going in with a big boot there was Crowd. And a free kick to Wakeland. Port Adelaide not panicking, but boy, are they under the pump right here.
They sure are. Now the kick to Bassett. Well, you say they're not panicking, Bruce. The foot skills are astray tonight. I thought that was a little panic kick then. Luckily, Treadway was there.
2 wrongs don't make a right, but in the space of 30 seconds, we've had one indiscriminate kick not paid down at one end of the ground and the reverse at the other.
Spot on, Jared. The kick towards centre wing. The target was Corns, but in the end it went towards Nick Stevens. The ball out of play. Graham unable to keep it in.
One of the other problems at the moment is because Hawthorn's half-back line is so strong, Port Adelaide's key forwards aren't dominant in the game. Port Adelaide are going sideways. They're not playing direct, working the ball back into the midfield and working it quick. It's just inefficient use of the ball.
And the free kick going Hawthorn's way from the ruck throw in. And it has to come back for Sean Wren.
Looks like Trent Crowe coming off, and Jade Rawlins, who's been on and off the bench tonight, might go forward this time. Obviously, normally a back pocket player.
That movement by Port Adelaide, a lot of credit must go to Hawthorn. They're putting enormous pressure on.
Yeah.
There's around the neck.
So Sean Wren. Deep into the forward line. Thompson flew across the front. Dixon read it beautifully at the back. Wrapped up by Mead. Mead still fighting hard for the footy. Port Adelaide see it to the pocket. And we will have another throw in.
We're under siege, Port Adelaide's backline at the moment. Just enormous pressure.
And then we see Crowe just getting the instructions, so you'd expect him perhaps to be back onto the ground shortly. Just a word with Peter Schwab. Wren will go over the top, plucked it out of the air, tries to play it on. He's wrapped up. Port Adelaide try to clear now through Bassett. Bassett, quick kick, thrown onto the boot again. And this has really been the pattern of play tonight as far as Port Adelaide's concerned. But full marks to Hawthorn. They are forcing the issue and they are forcing the errors.
Chris, I'd like to know what the tackle count is for both these sides. Hawthorn seem to be 2 and 3 at a time.
Graham's kicked the centre half forward. Just no finesse from Bassett there. Rawlings front spot almost. Bassett defended stoutly to Stevens. Needs a sure head. He does. Finds Kingsley. Kingsley to Schofield. Cox running hard. And now Guerra runs for Schofield. Is he given McCabe a chance? It's a bad kick from Schofield. Guerra was under the pump and belted away by McCabe.
That was brilliant defensive work from McCabe. He left his man. It was potential shot at goal if they got away there.
Yeah, downfield, boys. A free kick downfield.
Against Port Adelaide, I think.
Yeah, that's right. It's Guerra there.
It's against Guerra, Bruce, who got to his feet and ran at a Hawthorn player and brought him down.
It was a 50-50 cross from Mark Graham. They knew that Mark was always going to, if it went to ground, open up for a counter-assault by Port Adelaide.
So Lekis hooks it back to centre half forward. The target's Holland. He's got him. They're playing confidently here, the Hawks. Holland comes wide. Mark Graham running off Corns. Was he off? No. He's had a lot of the footy, Mark Graham. Goes short to the pocket for Thompson. It's an ambitious kick. It was just too wide. Wakeland takes Chick on. That's not easy to do. Thompson crashes through. Good work by Franco. Cockatoo Collins belted it off. The handball by Dixon was poor. Wanganeen gets it from Lyle. Loads it up to Treadray.
No one forward for Port Adelaide, not only inside 50, no one past the centre square. Hawthorn get back through McCabe. Burgoyne's the tackler. Now a chance. The speedster will take off. Treadray can apply the shepherd. Burgoyne can go all the way to the goal square, and he has goal. On the burst, Port Adelaide. It's been a long time coming.
Well, not only was it a great goal, but it was also an intelligent piece of play. Burgoyne bouncing the ball, going towards goal. Treadray was just sitting off the contest. Burgoyne pointed back to him to lay the shepherd. Treadray didn't that allow Burgoyne to run into goal. Just a great goal by the explosive half-forward flanker, but also an intelligent piece of play that allowed to set up the goal. Hawthorn would have laid the tackle had Burgoyne not done that.
Feels like a high-scoring soccer match, doesn't it? Every goal is significant, isn't it?
Guys, just a quick change there. Mead's off and Bishop is on.
The other
Thanks,
one is
Bruce.
Barker's on also for Hawthorn, and Thompson, who struggled tonight, he's come onto the bench.
Wood's doing well. Belts it out wide. The race on. Stevens against the flow. Did well. Look away, handball okay to Wakeland. Wakeland's kick out wide to Carr. He's got good hands, Carr. So suddenly Port Adelaide, with that goal against the flow on a counter-attack, may get some confidence from it. They now have kicked 2 of the last 3.
Hawthorn have blocked the corridor very well tonight. Port Adelaide's game is to chip the ball back inside when they're on the wing half-forward areas. They just have not been able to do that. They've done an excellent job covering that corridor.
Carr doesn't want to waste it. He coughed a couple up in the first half. He goes backwards to Wakeland. Wakeland goes back to Carr. Nothing much gain. Hawthorn lead by point. The winner to play the Bombers. Carr goes in short to Treadray. 70, 80 metres from goal. Primus leads about 40 metres away. Burgoyne's in the goal square. He provides the first big lead. Corns wide. Finds him. Good kick. But he's about 60 from goal. Won't get the journey here.
Cox is picking up Shea Cockatoo Collins. He's a very tricky player for an inexperienced man to be matching up on.
Roger James floats in over the back. Corns decides to go long and hard and high. No contest. Barker, who we didn't think would come back, has taken an uncontested mark.
So Barker now swings it to the member side of Football Park. We'll find Lekis.
Just got to get some goals for their efforts, the Hawks. They've used up so many petrol tickets and yet lead by just 1 point.
So a chance for Hawthorn just to take their time. The kick isn't good. Bassett over the top. Gee, Lekis really set Rawlings up there. Bassett wastes no time. Looking for Cockatoo Collins. He'll have to fly and beat about 3 here. He goes to ground. Cox, little handball through. Chance for Port Adelaide. James fresh back onto the ground. The tackle was good from Cox. Wanganeen gets a handball through. Heavy traffic. Treadray can't win the footy. Lecker's pushed it through. Now the Hawks are a chant. Brilliant from halfwood. He found McCabe. And McCabe, the vision is excellent to the outer side. And Barker has taken the mark, and Hawthorn are out of trouble. Now they're running through Green, and they've got loose players streaming down as well. Green's got plenty of time. The teenager has a bounce. Long kick into the forward line. Rawlings is 4 deep. In front was Bassett. Rawlings taken to ground, dragged to the ground. Dixon applies the tackle. The umpire to ball it up. It is desperate at each end of the ground, and what you'd expect in this second semi-final, it is Hawthorn by a point.
Still couldn't find a target coming into their forward line, though. There's the tackle count. Very impressive as far as Hawthorn are concerned. But Green, Smith, they've all gone in. Should have found a target with easy shots of goal. They've blazed away and haven't been able to take a mark.
38-18, that tackle count. Bishop tried to take it out of the air. Tackle coming in from Holland. And a free kick to Port there, and Vandenberg can't believe it.
As hard as Hawthorn have worked, and as much as they've dominated the match, Football Park, you can see the home side just creating havoc here, and it could all fall apart in the space of about 4 minutes.
Stevens to Primus to Carr. Good kick to Montgomery. Stevens working really hard here. They want it over the back Port. Burgoyne's running hard. Treadray, Joel Smith. Cockatoo Collins let him go. Can Treadray get it back? Not quite. Last man standing stuff. Hay. Good defensive work by the Port attack.
I mean, the sign we're looking for is players like Stevens working forward into space. The last couple of minutes, the game has just started to open up for them a little bit. That's a sign we'll be looking for. Port's midfielders working hard into space.
Wren versus Primus. Wren judged it best. Hacks it away. Barlow, good mark. Hawthorn standing firm here. There's a resolve about them.
One of their great strengths, Port Adelaide, all season has been their takeaway from the stoppages. And yet today it's been a weakness. Hawthorn have been sensational at it.
Crawford at centre wing. Good first half. Kicks to Barker. Barker's had an impact since coming on. Believe that he had a very heavy headache at half time. Barker's kick to the pocket to Dixon or Holland. Holland in front. So Holland tucked away here. He's had a wretched season, Dutchie, with his shoulders.
Midfield rotation again. Tony Woods, who continues to produce the goods in the middle, coming off, and he's been replaced by Roden Tallis.
And also Red, who's started this quarter off pretty well, boys, is also off the ground.
So Holland from the pocket. Hawthorn lead by a point. Got a good view, haven't we? We're right behind him. Improves his angle. It's a good-looking kick. It's close. It's a behind. Holland bending it. And Hawthorn by 2 points.
Port Adelaide will be looking for an opening up at their kickouts. Dew and Francis, the designated kickers, just have not been able to get a clearance tonight. Been difficult kicking it out from goal.
So this time short to Wanganeen.
It's hard to believe they're just 2 points in front, Hawthorn.
I was just about to say, Jared, often a side will become demoralised if they get so much of the ball when you can't convert.
Yep.
Well, Dixon's gone down behind play, and you would suggest he was feigning for a free kick. There was a Shepherd applied, and the umpire was standing right there. So they've played it on. Port Adelaide now have switched it to the other outer half-back flank. Now Montgomery can run. Last year's best and fairest finds Chad Corns, and the umpire plays it on.
Gee.
Was there a hint of in the back there? Was there a hint of a mark? The umpire wanted neither.
Well, he dead set looked to control it.
And umpire Darren Goldsmith says 2-0 down as far as Chad Corns is concerned, and Dixon, in fact, will come off after that clash behind the play. Chance for Hawthorn now. Too easy. Graham.
Stop
Ever so easy.
If he just sees Crowd, he's just come on the ground now.
They stood around and watched. It's with Barlow now, just inside the centre square. Short pass over the top, Tallis. Loose checking Port Adelaide. They'll play it on Hawthorn.
Need a goal.
Now to Cox on the run. He's pretty good with these. And he's missed. So they are letting Port Adelaide off the hook, Hawthorn, because there is no doubt they are dominating play. And they're not hurting on the scoreboard. One of the real modern terms in footy is scoreboard pressure. And Hawthorn just aren't applying it.
And Josh Franco would count his lucky stars as well. Roden Tallis pushing forward there. Franco not chasing, allowing Hawthorn the shot on goal.
What do they do with Wanganeen here? Dixon's off. Do they push him into the midfield or forward, or they leave him down back?
I'll push him into the midfield, Bruce.
Dew, long kick out wide. The target is Primus. Good defence by Thompson. Schofield belts it forward to Corns. Good take, lovely handle to the cocky. Well played. Wants Treadray. Has he got him? He has. Brilliant football. Terrific stuff by Cockatoo Collins.
Well, it was smart play, wasn't it? Because he could have bombed the ball and gone onto the goal square, but he pushed back inside. Space opened up for Treadray. Just short chip pass.
Well, this to put Port in front, can you believe it? Port Adelaide are in front of Treadray goals, and this could really hurt Hawthorn. Port getting their goals on the burst in this quarter. Burgoyne, Treadray. He's kicked 51 goals this season. 48 metres out. Very careful. He's missed it.
I think we're destined for a close finish.
And Mead's just come on for Stuart Dew.
5-6, 5-8, so Mead on for Dew. Joel Smith.
Looking for Cox, and it's pinpoint the pass. He's been fairly busy with 10 and 3. Cox started on the bench, finds Vandenberg short. He's been good as well with 4 kicks and 9 handballs tonight. Just waits for the moment. A couple of players loose just in court. Gee, no talking there. Holland getting in the way of Harford. Cockatoo Collins goes to ground. Feigns the handball, short pass, looks for Schofield, who kicked the first goal of the match, has to wait for this one. Cox will come in, does well with the tackle, although the handball gets threaded through to Carr. Carr likewise has to get through about 3 Hawks. The mark will be taken by Wanganeen. There's a Hawk down behind.
Yeah, it's Harford. It was Harford. When Cockatoo picked up that ball, he put his head back and smacked him right in the nose.
Holland, gee, made a terrible mistake there. Got in the way of Harford, and it's allowed Wanganeen to end up with the footy at half forward. He's been an important goal kicker this year, Gavin Wanganeen. In fact, has kicked 40 goals. And yet we think of him as the reliable defender.
Well, if he can be a reliable defender, but given Port Adelaide's lack of movement, he must be pushing forward, and that's what he's done in this situation here. Followed the flight of the ball going forward and got himself in a dangerous position. He must continue to run hard because he is a player that can create opportunities.
His conversion rate this year is 65% goals to points, so that's what we're looking at as Harford comes off the ground. Wanganeen has been pretty accurate this year. Perhaps he can do what Treadray couldn't quite do a moment ago.
Well, as we keep saying, and we've said it throughout this match, if he goals now and Port Adelaide hit the front, there's probably no justice as far as Hawthorn's concerned, because they've dictated play. We mentioned a moment ago, lack of scoreboard pressure, and Port Adelaide are in front through Wanganeen.
It's a tough business, the footy game, and you wouldn't be surprised to see an avalanche follow this, although that may be doing an injustice to the Hawks, who have been able to respond at every challenge tonight. But they have just been so courageous, but haven't been able to put them away.
Wanganeen into the centre by the look of it, Jared.
So taking Dixon off, it's released Wanganeen into the centre. Will that be the catalyst?
So Peter Schwab, they've taken off Dixon, so Wanganeen into the centre now. Kicked that goal to put Port in front. Port have kicked the last 2. They've kicked 3 of the last 4. Yet Hawthorn seem to be on top, but Port are in front on the scoreboard.
Guys, Peter Schwab is certainly ringing the changes down here. He's had 25 changes to Port Adelaide's 9 so far in this game.
Yeah, one of the differences, though, is they do rotate their midfield through the bench, so they're always going to have set plays and set rotations.
Fair point.
Primus, Carr, Woods in there with Tallis and Chick. Ball up.
One move which has worked well is Braden Lyle going on to Shane Crawford. Crawford's had a quiet quarter. He was so dominant in the first half, 14 possessions.
Remember that Lyle was a late inclusion for Derek Murray.
And Carr also locked down on Harford, so they've had a couple of wins there.
Chick belts forward. Wanganeen becoming very important. He started brilliantly. Kicked the set up for Corns. Good mark.
He stood up this quarter, Bruce.
He has. Uses Wanganeen. Wanganeen to the pocket to Cockatoo Collins and Burgoyne. Burgoyne's taken a beauty. No, cocky it is. Cockatoo Collins with those brilliant hands that he's had all year. Gee, all of a sudden you feel that the moment's arrived here for Hawthorn.
Well, Bruce, you asked a question not long ago about Wanganeen. who's done an excellent job in the back half of the ground, but the game is at a critical stage and you want your player that can really impact the game around where the ball is. He's pushed him into the midfield.
If Dixon came on now, I reckon Mark Williams would be tempted to leave Wanganeen in the guts of the game right now. Cockatoo Collins, like Wanganeen, a goal kicker. His percentage is 76% this year. Rarely misses and gets another one. Port have kicked 4 of the last 5. They've made a move and Dixon has come on. What does Mark Williams do with Wanganeen now? Surely he leaves him in the centre.
Well, it was great work up forward, but it was created by Wanganeen through the middle of the ground. It was always a weapon he had up his sleeve. They've been fortunate to have Corns there. He's taken some fairly impressive marks.
Well, every side has its superstar. There's no doubt Wanganeen is it for Port Adelaide. Tredray's the man in waiting. He will be it one day, but I think Wanganeen's the man at the moment.
No doubt about that. Dixon back on, but it looks like the genie's been left out of the bottle.
Tredray just forced under the footy. It allows Hawthorn to clear with numbers, or have they? Vandenberg's kick won't find the mark. Cockatoo Collins is in. If he can pick it up, he will bob. Come around onto the right boot. He kicks it, goal. It'll bring the house down, and he has. Port Adelaide on the march.
Jared talked about an avalanche, or a potential avalanche. Hawthorn not able to make it play on the scoreboard despite controlling the ball in general midfield. And Wanganeen's move has sparked it, but Cockatoo Collins looking dangerous inside the 50-metre area for Port Adelaide. 2 creative goals, just that spark that they were looking for, no question.
Been big cocky. Cox goes to Cockatoo Collins now. Porter kicked 4, the last 4 goals here. They've made their big move. Hawthorn have to get the next one. They've dominated this match for so long, Hawthorn. Certainly not for the last 10 minutes, but they must put it on the board. Francis's free kick. You can feel it unravelling here for Hawthorn really quickly. It's coming apart. Kingsley to half forward. Cox went without it. Cockatoo Collins embarrasses him on that occasion. One hand at 50. Cute finds Wanganeen.
Well, pushing him forward has released Cockatoo Collins. They've put Smith on the Wanganeen. Cox is just not simply good enough to go with Shea Cockatoo Collins. And he's played a part in the last 3 setups, one of which has been a goal. This one could be. And we know that Warren Tredray missed an opportunity a few minutes ago.
Port will lead by 4 goals if he kicks this. We're right behind him. It's a terrible kick. It was touched off the boot, I think. No, it floated there. I'm not sure what he was up to there, Wanganeen. So Hawthorn get a bit of a let-off. McCabe to Crawford. They need Crawford and Chick to stand up here. Out of bounds on the full. It'll be Corns to bring it in.
Well, all of a sudden the mistakes coming from Hawthorn now. Corns, what a quarter he's played. Goes short to Bassett. Has been an important player for the last 2 weeks, Bassett. Crowded forward line as you'd expect. Hawthorn down in numbers, back in numbers I mean. And Bassett will go long. Wanganeen's at the back of this pack. The spoil, Holland got up high. James through, Cockatoo Collins. What a patch, he's having a back heel. Cockatoo Collins can't find it this time. He's playing his party tricks now. And it's through for the minor score. What a fairy tale story from this man. He was gone pre-season. We've talked about it so many times. Every time he plays well, we talk about it. He was absolutely gone, Cockatoo Collins, and he has resurrected his career. In fact, it may have almost been a little throw when you look at it like that. He put it down and then tapped it back.
Chick in the back half. Their leadership group has now been called on Hawthorns. They need a huge 1/4.5 from Thompson, Chick, and Crawford. Here's Thompson, misses a target. They're doing it a bit. Graham looked nervous with the footy. Barlow, well done. To Green. Green to half forward. Good kick off the boot to Rawlings. Good free kick, I think, against Wakeland. The Hawks have got to stream forward here.
Thompson and crowed off. Wren and Holland back on.
Dixon being picked up by Bishop. Chick gets it square. And then squares again to Woods. On quickly to the pocket to Holland. He's out very wide. Well, they've gone a long way to get there. And you'd reckon his chances of goaling from here would be at best 50%. Tucked away in the pocket.
Bruce, it's good play by Holland. He's come off, they've made the change on the interchange bench. He's run 100 metres to the far side of the ground, sensing Hawthorn making a forward movement. Hard work.
Joel Smith's gone to Cockatoo Collins. Wanganeen's been picked up by Cox. So Holland. Hawks need a goal. It's not a good kick. There's a chance for a mark. Corns has got it. He is having a big quarter. He played on. Montgomery. Treadray. So Corns and Treadray deep. Mark Graham has to chase. Keeps it in. Did well. Back to McCabe. There's a lot of players in front of him in the goal. Centering kick. Clever. The Lyle did extremely well. Kept his eye on the ball. Port can hurt them here. Cockatoo Collins in front of Smith. No shove, the umpire says. Gee, it looked like it was. Tallis to Crawford. Crawford to Holland. Franco, Nilly. Holland back to Crawford. Well played, James. Port Adelaide have had a super quarter.
Yeah, and they've got a sniff, Bruce. Got a big sniff. Nick Holland is going to get another shot from about 90 metres out, but he will not be able to make the distance, you wouldn't think. Port Adelaide have got a sniff. They're playing at home. Their home crowd is fired up, and they are going to be very tough to topple here now.
3-goal turnaround in this quarter. They trail by a point at quarter time. They lead by 17 at three-quarter time. Holland falls about 25, 30 metres short, but Port kicked the last 4 goals of the quarter. Wanganeen's move forward was important. Corns and Cockatoo Collins got heavily involved, and Dixon coming off just changed the balance of the team.
Yeah, let the genie out of the bottle. The reality is, though, that Hawthorn have dominated for 2.5 quarters, yet they trail by nearly 3 goals on the scoreboard.
For one of these teams, they're 30 minutes away from the Bombers at the MCG next week. 8-7 to 5-8. Hawthorn have to get the first goal to have a chance, you'd think. Primus, check. Franco out of the centre to half forward. Corns caught underneath. Rawlings has gone to Corns, so they've taken Graham off him. Cockatoo Collins takes them all on. He should be pinged. He is. The advantage given to Hawthorn. Graham, he's been released from Corns towards. Good-looking kick to Thompson. Got him. So Thompson at 52 goes to the pocket. They've got a chance here. Hawthorn, Vandenberg underneath
free
it.
kick.
Barker not being paid, and Mead just goes straight to the.
It looked like Johnny Barker copped a chop right across the neck or the chin area, but escaped the umpire. May not have been there, but that's how it looked from here. Hawthorn are desperate for that first goal. If they could build on that one, then they can sniff. They can get back in with just half a chance.
John Barker certainly not moving with the fluidity he did early on in the game, guys.
So in the back pocket is Bassett.
Pretty impressive, Bassett. Hasn't had a lot of AFL footy this year. Has been forced to play in the SRNFL a lot, and has come in finals time. Has had a couple of big jobs to do and has been all right. He's stood tall. It's with Bishop now at half-back. Mead is loose at centre half-back. Waste no time. High kick to centre wing. Looking for Treadray. Cockatoo Collins waits at the back. Treadray now claims the footy as it goes to ground. Threads a handball through. Corns will meet Woods and does well. Gives Franco a chance to try and hold the footy in and does. Graham came in for Hawthorn. The umpire balled it up, and this big crowd at Footy Park appreciate the desperate work of Warren Treadray.
And just talking about Graham, sorry, Jared, he's now picked up. Tony Woods has come off an injury. He's in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, you got Graham Corns. You got Chad Corns' head.
Yeah, Mark Graham's now picking up Cockatoo.
Right.
Comes over the back to Stevens. Quick handball through. Burgoyne to Lyle. Will keep it in play. No, he doesn't. It's out. So Burgoyne's been in and out of the game. There was that very clever goal in that third term.
Just starting to get on top around the stoppages around the ground, Port Adelaide.
So Wren in front again. Should get a free kick. And the advantage paid. Long high kick. Mead getting under it. Barker with him. Barker should reclaim it. No, in fact, it's Chick who runs through. Read it beautifully. Was a terrific player in the first term and a bit around on the right boot. Bassett gets into the gap and takes the mark. And we talked about him just moments ago. He's been fantastic for Port Adelaide.
Bishop doing the job now on Dixon with Wanganeen up the ground. Goes wide to Montgomery. Stevens running hard at half-back. This will be his 20th possession, Stevens. Kick to Lyle. just controlling at Port here. 8-7-5-9. Lyle to centre wing, Corns and Rawlings. Rawlings fists away, Lickers towards the line and finds it. They've got to take a chance here though, Hawthorn, don't they?
Absolutely, Bruce. I mean, their half-back line, they've just got to transfer the play, look for the player who's loose, try to create the loose movement.
Geez, I'd be surprised if Tony Woods comes back on, boys. In a lot of pain down there. He's got a leg injury, of course. 19
possessions he had, Dibby. Had a terrific first couple of quarters. Burgoyne. And Port's bench still looks deep when you look at Schofield, Guerra, Dew, doesn't they? They've still got a trick or two up their sleeve.
They've got the running power. And here we have a look at Tony Woods. You've got to put his possessions into context. He does rotate off the ground, so he's not out there as much as some midfielders. He's had a huge day.
That's a very good point there, Bruce. The interchange players for Port gives Mark Williams a bit of an option, unlike Hawthorn, which seem to be a little bit flat-footed at the moment.
Vandenberg, thanks, Bruce. There's Peter Schwab. Gary Buckenara closest to us.
I just think that tackle count has probably evened up as well. Hawthorn were well on top in the first half.
It was 38-18 the last time we looked.
I think the Hawthorn midfield's had a magnificent night. They have created enough opportunities to win this match. It's just that the Hawks collectively didn't take their chances.
Hawthorn now through Tallis, through the middle. It's a good lead and a good pass. And it finds Thompson. Jared, I reckon there's so much like Tony Hall about this fella. I know he's taller, but the way he moves and his athleticism, he just reminds me so much of the former Hawk, former South Australian Tony Hall. But the action now with this man, Nathan Thompson. Very athletic big man, will kick it right on that 15-metre line. Much needed goal. The umpire has not moved, and the Hawks clap it through. One back for Hawthorn.
Well, you just can't afford to come off the pace at all in the midfield between the two 50-metre areas. As soon as you do, a side gains a momentum break, and that's what's happened here. It's just sort of snuck up on us. Hawthorn, who looked down and out, have fought back hard in that vital midfield area, starting to get back on top of the game again.
Suddenly that scoreboard looks pretty even, doesn't it? Same scoring shots, 10-point game. It was a bit like Carlton and Richmond today when the Blues got that late goal from Whitnall. Franco, so you reckon Port need the next one in a way, because if Hawthorn get the next one, then we're going to go right down to the wire. 55-45, both semi-finals today, really low scoring. 10 goals to 7, so their attendance 30,613, which you've got to say is disappointing. However you look at it. We had 37,000 for the Bombers this year against Port, 35 for Carlton against Port, 34 for Collingwood against Port, and tonight in the only final Port have played in this town, 30,600. The AFL are going to have to look at it. Wanganeen's kick at centre wing to half forward. Graham on Cockatoo Collins, good contest. Cockatoo Collins, left, right, centre, got a free kick.
The importance of Wanganeen tonight can't be overstated. He's no longer the captain, but he is playing as if he is tonight, which is, I guess, ironic because Matthew Primus hasn't had his best game, but Wanganeen's had a bottler.
Cockatoo Collins, poor kick to McCabe. Can't have a draw here, of course. If it's tied up at the end, it'll be 5 minutes both ways.
So Tallis now from defence.
Still running the horse, they're still believing.
10 points down they are, the Hawks. And still a fair bit of this quarter left.
Great kick.
A lot of football to go. Mead from about 4 deep will go with the fist. Off hands though. Barker was clever. Won it. Centres it up. Green towards goal. The Hawks will get another one. We will have a 4-point ball game on our hands. Thompson from 2 metres out now. He kicked the last goal. And again the momentum swings.
Chris, is it just me or have Port Adelaide stopped through the middle of the ground? Have they looked at the scoreboard?
Oh. They've stopped all right. At three-quarter time, you thought they were home. Yet they're only 3 goals up. And Thompson bangs it through. Port Adelaide now by 4 points.
Well, Gerard, it has been that sort of game for most of the night, though, hasn't it? The momentum swings have been constant, going from one side to another. And perhaps there is a psychological thing where a team thinks they've got, particularly with a home ground advantage or home ground game, they get that 15-point, 12-point break, and You think, well, that's enough. You just come off your game that little bit. The other side pick up on it and they gain the momentum, and certainly Hawthorn have got it back again now.
Well, Woods is back on his feet. Sorry, boys, Woods is back on his feet. I've got to say, if he comes back on the ground, it'd be a miracle.
Thanks, Tip. Thompson's a handful here. He's had 3 marks in the last quarter at full forward. Port Adelaide by a kick. Carr out of the centre. Tredrea and Hay. Every contest now so important. Graham to Hay. Hay's kicked to centre wing, Wanganeen. Searched for it with courage and then held it up. But Hawthorn doing pretty well here.
Oh, good effort, gee.
To Green. It was Green's pass that's created the last goal after Barker's handball. Poor kick that time. Montgomery wins it. He's got Stevens on his own. He'll go to him now. He holds it up. Out wide to Stevens. Not sure why he kept holding it up. He had him for a long time out there. Stevens fumbled. Found the target. Bishop up playing down back on Dixon. Stevens runs for him. Bishop's kick along the line. Corns versus Rawlings. Nearly Corns. Rawlings did well though. To Tallis. The Hawks are running. They might be in front in a moment. Leckers through the centre. Primer's got a hand on it. Controls it. Over the top. Wasted chance for Hawthorn. Bishop is in 2-3 minds. Uses Kingsley. Kingsley off half back. Probing kick to half forward. Hay stood up very well. And juggles a bit. Not played. Tredray's got it. Very unlucky Hay. Harford. Francis still trying to win it. Ball to be won. Leckers in hard. Ridden into the ground by Burgoyne. Ball, the Port Adelaide fans cry. In the back, the Hawthorn fans cry. And Holland kicks out wide and finds Rawlings at half back.
Rawlings has made a mistake with the kick. Carr is intercepted. Gee, the mark a moment ago to Hay. It's one of the decisions of the night, isn't it? Stevens now runs hard. Runs to 70 metres. And the mark has been taken by Wakeland.
Well, the Jonathan Hay lack of mark, or lack of it being paid a mark, may well go down in history in the same bracket as Lee Colbert.
Yeah, you're talking the Crows v Geelong here, Gerard Football Park.
Well, that was a mark, wasn't it?
Yep.
3 bites of the cherry, I reckon, Constantine. He may not have actually 100% grabbed control of it, by golly. 3 bites, and it's got to be paid, surely.
So a huge kick coming up from Wakeland. Under normal circumstances, you write these down, but what a kick this is.
Hasn't kicked a goal this year.
Not only that, the push in the back on the tackle. That had to be a free kick to Hawthorn as well.
So the full-back has goal for Port Adelaide. They lead by 10.
Nick Stevens has become an important player this quarter. He had a good battle with Richie Vandenberg all night, but he's starting to find space, working the lines well. See, Jonathan, I mean, that's just a mark.
100% a mark.
Well, it might be a costly decision. See Stevens there pushing forward.
Somebody a grand final appearance.
Seen that mark on replay. It certainly looked a mark to Hay. It looked as if he had control of the footy. But
it's all about the momentum too, isn't it, at this point in time?
So Darryl Wakeland's first goal for the year, 9th goal in his career, puts Port 10 points in front. Franco out of the centre, off Graham. Nobody for Port went for it. Both Tredrea and Corns expected the other to go. Hawthorn a chance. Francis, bang, crash. Ball comes out. Smith and Cockatoo Collins. Cockatoo Collins clever to Schofield. Schofield over the top to Braden Lyle in the pocket. Hooks back to Wanganeen. Hasn't quite got him at the back. Tredrea had a miss. Off the ground by Burgoyne. Through from behind. Gee, Tredrea had a chance. A real chance there.
Significant too. The Primus has got his hand on the ball. The last 2 centre clearances. Carr and Franco being able to get the ball out of the vital centre square bounce.
Dixon off. Cox comes on. Goes forward. Wanganeen in trouble here. Real trouble. The rubber man. He's as tough as they come, as resilient as we've ever seen, I think, but he's doing it hard right now.
Bruce, I've seen him come back onto the field with a broken leg. He's an amazing player.
He is. He's just the sort of bloke that you think would just run that out.
Well, he's limped like that a few times this year, hasn't he? Turnover for Port Adelaide, half forward to Cockatoo Collins. Big tackle applied. Now Franco a chance. Cool heads needed. Green in hot pursuit. Short pass on for Lyle. Chipping into the space though, Harford, who plays on, then runs into trouble as well. They need a clearing kick, Hawthorn. Stevens getting under it. Over the top was Graham. Brought it to ground. Pack of players forming. Desperation again from both sides. Every contest so vital. And Wanganeen just trying to walk off this soreness. It happened in the goal square in the last contest. So bounce down. Primus got it to Lyle. Lyle, quick kick forward. Treadray's in front. Getting under it now, Joel Smith, the All-Australian halfback, tries to get to the boundary line. Burgoyne, the speedster, kicks it to the square. There's a free kick on. It's going back to the back pocket for Hawthorn. So a chance for the Hawks to just steady for the moment and clear it out of this defensive zone.
Joel Smith short to Rawlings.
Got to go. Got to move.
Short to Tallis. Wanganeen comes onto the mark. He's in huge pain here, Wanganeen, but he's told the trainers he can stay on. Tallis short to Rawlings. Almost feel if Port get one more goal, they'll win.
Yep.
So Hawthorn are going to be so careful here, but at the same time, create some space and an opportunity.
Coming off Wanganeen.
Okay, so they've overruled him, I think. Mark Graham. Wanganeen's got to go back to put some pressure on Smith. Dew waiting to come on for Wanganeen. They could take Wanganeen on here a bit. He just can't run.
Just run around him.
He could run off him here, Smith. I'm not sure if he's certain of it. He comes wide, very wide, and finds Tallis. It's a careful build-up here by Hawthorn. Dew comes on from Wanganeen. Short kick back. Tony Woods remarkably is back. Thompson, who's been a big last quarter player here.
He's been the missing link for most of the night, and he's producing at the right time. Top of the square, check by himself. He'd go to the top.
So Woods comes off. Vandenberg on.
All Port Adelaide players in Hawthorn's forward half.
Looking at the benches there. Thompson, well, it was a clever kick. Now, if anybody could goal from here, this is the man. He is a super shot for goal, John Barker.
Tough shot from that pocket, Bruce.
He kicks him. He's unbelievable, this bloke.
Well, this is the toughest pocket. See, Wanganeen, this is the toughest pocket of footy park.
I think the footy gods owe them one, Bruce, after that poor decision at the other end.
What a kick for Barker in the context of the match and the season. It's coming back. It's coming back. He's done it. He's kicked the miracle goal. Well, it was always a chance.
Well, that proves it. God's definitely a Hawthorn supporter.
Gee, have a look at that scoreboard too. We are going right down to the wire here. We had a close one today at the MCG after the blowouts of last week, but tonight this is going to go right to the wire.
Well, that's just a magnificent kick, because there's no question that's the hardest pocket on this ground to kick goals from. He's just laid back on it and guided it through. It's gone straight through the centre. A great kick by John Barker for his first goal for the evening.
Nobody's spotted up Crody yet. He's hiding behind the train, addressing the four. Yeah, we are. Young Bishop's found him now.
They heard you, Dipper.
Well, locals know that at Football Park you do not kick goals from that pocket. As Hawthorn come out of the middle again, Vandenberg just lost it, regained it. The kick towards Barker, who kicked the last goal. He got rid of Mead. Montgomery's there to help out for Port Adelaide. He'll swing it across goal. Couple of bounces. Barker's done well in hot pursuit. He had nowhere to go, Montgomery. And
it was just great pressure from Hawthorn, irrespective of the result. They have done a miraculous performance here to fight back. They were shot to pieces at three-quarter time. They were gone, and their character would never be questioned. It has been just an incredible fight back.
This is a proud, proud club, isn't it? Comes over the back now. Vandenberg gave off the handball, shot at goal, and it's offline from Barlow.
Once
Every
again,
point handy.
Yeah, but they've got to kick goals, don't they? They've just got to take their opportunities in the last 8 minutes of this match.
Well, from kick insides normally mount a challenge, don't they? They normally mount an attack, but tonight it just hasn't happened for Port Adelaide.
Gone one-on-one here, Hawthorn in the kick out. Crawford back to full forward. Thompson over the top. Crow can't get it. Couldn't get a handle on it.
Can you believe that?
It looked a certain goal. Just couldn't find the footy, could he?
He got a horrid bounce. He attacked it pretty hard, but just have a look at the bounce. And when he tried to turn, the legs wouldn't grip. The tyres gave out.
Francis to Montgomery. Good mark. Gee, that's poor by Crow. But no 50. They didn't pay any 50s today. They won't pay them tonight. Fair enough. Montgomery at half-back. Porter hanging on by the skin of their teeth here. A three-point game. Who keeps a cool head? Who stands up? Both teams trying to get into the last four. The advantage given to Franco. Primus earned the free kick. Treadray on the lead. Good kick by Franco. Cockatoo Collins is wide. Dew leads. Goes wide. Can he get to Dew? He's got a long way out here, Treadray. We know how far Dew can kick. He's under pressure. Shrugs it. Can go all the way. Loads it up. Coming back. He's done it. Unbelievable. If Barker was the only man on the ground who could kick it from the other end, Dew was the only player there who could shrug the tackle. Archie's back and bang it home.
Well, he just took Adrian Cox on, Jared, didn't he? Cox had to hold the player up. Dew just kept at it and at it. But Cox just had to hold Dew up. He's dangerous when he finds space. Leans back on that left leg. Kicks a magnificent goal.
Oh boy, it's his specialty, isn't it? The man on screen. I think in years to come, when people do that, they'll say he's done a Stewie Dew. On the left boot, on the run, no matter how far out, he's dangerous. Vandenberg now, out of the middle for Hawthorn. They will hit back again, no doubt about that. Holland works hard for it, just inside the square. And Port Adelaide force the ball up. Dixon about to come back on. He's been on and off all night. Started off with a great contest with Gavin Wanganeen, who was in defence for Port Adelaide. Wanganeen went into the middle for a little while. Bounced down. Primus and Corns went up at this one. Bishop pulled off the footy. Quick kick forward for Hawthorn. Thompson couldn't take the mark. Vandenberg, a great tap through. Hawthorn, they have come back. They have hit straight back.
Well, some great work there. Just a couple of deft little taps were quite superb. Thompson just knocked it through clear, and Vandenberg's had a big game. He's had a sensational last quarter. And their work, Wren coming off is an interesting move, because I reckon Wren has got the ball down pretty smartly in this last quarter, and they've got some good takeaways. There it was, the Vandenberg tap, superb to Harford, and Harford gets a goal.
Well, Thompson now taking on the ruck duels against Primus. Sean Wren is off the ground.
Last two centre clearances have gone Hawthorn's way.
Might get the next one too, Tony. Chick to James. What a game of footy we've had here. Cockatoo Collins against the flow. He's in trouble. He span out. He got it back from Bassett. It ricocheted off. But the ball's only as far as the Hawks. Oh, Francis. Francis with a bounce. Francis for goal. Francis hits the post. Oh.
What an intercept.
What an intercept. He stole the footy in the centre of the ground. Kept it low. We know how far he can kick them. And it hit the post. 10-9, 9-11. It's been the final of the series so far without any question. Corns back to Stevens. Bad kick. He had Schofield short and he coughed it up to Harford. It was a poor effort in the end. He's played well, Stevens. Vandenberg's been really important to Crawford. Hawthorn won't go away. They won't stomach a defeat here. They're going to keep coming. Graham, who wants it the most? The Hawks are the power. Vandenberg to fall for. Thompson, Thompson, Thompson.
That's a great transference of play. Craig by himself in the square, but Thompson rightly goes back, takes responsibility and says he will kick the goal and stick the Hawks in front in one of the best comebacks I've seen in a final for a long while.
Well, what a kick this is.
They couldn't kick a goal in the first three quarters, Bruce. All of a sudden, they've found their way through.
He's kicked 2 goals in the last quarter. He's taken 4 marks inside 50. This to put Hawthorn in front. Think he's missed it. It's close. It's very close. They like it, but he's missed. Oh, boy. Francis is supposed at one end. Thompson takes a soaring mark at the other. For the loser, well, for Hawthorn, they finished exactly where they finished last year. For Port, they finished in 5th place after being in the top 4 for 18 of the 22 weeks.
And no matter who wins, there'll be 3 different sides in the preliminary finals compared to last year.
So the short passes on Port Adelaide, a mini huddle applied there. There were a couple of breakaways and he found Kingsley with the kick, Francis.
Finding it hard to find a loose player, Port, having to kick the ball down the line.
So it's man on man everywhere. Corns. Oh, what a mark. No, play on. Butt ball, says the umpire, and then he's caught.
Looked like a mark from here.
It did. Umpire just saying a bump ball. Got it just on the bounce probably as Franco comes off. Carr comes back on. 3 points the difference. And Primus will get a free kick. He's at half-back. Members side of Football Park. Treadray is at centre wing. With him is Corns. You'd expect Primus to kick it in that direction.
He's unlikely to go for a short pass.
You've got Hay and Rawlings there for Hawthorn, and it goes that way now.
No one at the back.
The big pack. Corns got his hands on it. Tallis was at the back for Hawthorn. He'll go out. No, kept it in. And Duxon Weeds keeps it in beautifully, but now they're in a bit of strife. Vandenberg over the top. That was a good handball under pressure. Good tackle, and now it's out of play. Every tackle, every handball is so important from now on. It has been from the start. Now they get even more important. French, Barnaby French to come on for Port Adelaide. He went off with a corky earlier in this game. Hasn't done a lot. Primus out of the air. Graham stole it. Well played. Loose player in the middle. Hawthorn a big chance. The mark is dropped by Leckus. Leckus now on the lead is Barker. And Barker is marked in front of Mead. A huge opportunity for Hawthorn.
Angelo Leckus free in the midfield on his own. Just...
Yeah, it's hard to explain, isn't it?
Great effort by Mark Graham. He got the turnover. Exceptional effort.
Well, this man was sick at half-time. We were told he had some sort of migraine or a very bad headache. He's kicked an important goal already in this term. This one's drifting, or is it? Or is it through? They like it, Hawthorn. They're in front. Woo.
Well, this is just an incredible performance. I thought they were shot, thought they were gone, thought they could lose by 8 goals, in fact. I thought it was going to be an avalanche, and it has been. The Hawks, after some spirited words from their coach at three-quarter time, have found another gear. They've found some more energy, and they're desperate on the... They're 2 minutes to go. They're signalling on the ground. The players are signalling. 2 minutes to go. Hold on.
5 goals to 2 in the last quarter. Barker and Thompson got 4 goals between them. The Hawks are back in front. Can the power respond? Carr got it from Primus. A wobbly kick. Jew versus Smith. It comes to ground. Smith and Jew. What a contest. Cox kicks back. Cox kicks to half-back. Good kick. Finds Leckus.
Look at the players on the boundary line. Sean Wren is saying, hold the footy. Just hold the possession. 2 minutes to play, he's saying. He's got his fingers in the air.
There's Luke McCabe running up to give him a message as well. I think he is.
You can't handball it to him.
McCabe's telling him how long to go, though. Went up and had a talk to Leckus. Hawthorn lead by 3 points. High kick. Belted towards the line. Dixon. Well, surely one more Hawthorn goal now wins it for them. Cockatoo Collins. Only one Victorian team has ever travelled into state to win a final. It was the Hawks in 91 against West Coast.
They've just got to play man-on-man here, Hawthorn. They've just got to hold it in. Don't let anybody slip out the back. It's the only way they can win this, if they can get it flipped out the back.
Primus over the back. Hawthorn force it forward again. Vandenberg's been a huge player. Big tackle applied. Port Adelaide diving over the footy. Francis belts it out. It seemed to take forever. Stevens overruns it. Chick now a chance for Hawthorn. Big tackle applied by Roger James, and the ball again dribbles out of play as the clock ticks away.
Vandenberg, I think it is, coming from the ground. He looks to have the cramp. Nick Holland is a loose player in defence. Loose players aren't going to help you if somebody squirrels the ball out of this pack here. You've got to go man-on-man in this circumstance.
So inside the Hawthorn 50, Chick belts it forward for Stevens. Chance for Port Adelaide to clear. He looks to the outer side. Mark has to be taken as far as Port Adelaide's concerned. Guerricardi goes to ground. Hawthorn have the numbers. They keep it in the 50. Port Adelaide working overtime. Big Hawthorn chance here through Woods, who overruns it. Montgomery down to Francis. Port Adelaide on the break. This is their last chance. He looks for Cockatoo Collins, and the mark has been taken by Graham. It's a huge mark. Big mark from Graham.
Kicks out wide, finds Holland.
They just should start kicking it backwards.
Well, they've got to make Hawthorn kick the ball here, Port Adelaide. Sit off the mark.
Should kick it
Make him
backwards.
play on.
So Holland at half-back. It's going to go long by the look of it. As far as he can, he gets good distance. Kicks to half-forward. Corns at the back. Chance for Dixon. Dixon's left foot round the corner to Barker. And Hawthorn have got it forward, but it's out on the full. Port one last chance here.
Must be a transfer. He's got to find the loose player, try to transfer. Somebody must open up.
It's been called to play on.
Mead called to play on. Kicks to centre wing. Rawlings got rid of Corns. Holland's taken the mark. So Dutchy at centre wing. Peter Swab knows how long there is to go. What's
Hang
happening
on.
here?
Now what's happened?
Was it out of bounds, was it?
He played on when he was out of bounds, I think. And so they're going to have a throw in.
So Mead's played on when it was out of bounds. So it's half forward left. Hawthorn inside, they're attacking 50. They lead by 3 points. They were 3 goals down at three-quarter time, seemingly out of it. Lyle to Mead, to Stevens, to Montgomery. Montgomery at half-back, wants Tredray. Can't quite get him. Hay with him. Tredray and Hay. Tredray's left foot kick. Hawthorn have won it! Hawthorn have won it! It's one of the greatest victories in the history of a club that had such a run in the 1980s.